I noticed a difference within a few days. I noticed a difference in the hot flashes. And that was the first thing for me, was to try to just get those under control. What a difference it would make to start to take that menopause relief. I can't put it into words. It was amazing. I can tell you that it has made such a difference for me personally, because really for me, the struggle for a while had been menopause related. I'm in perimenopause, so I'm in this weird in between transitional period. And there were some really extreme symptoms and effects that I was dealing with. And I have to say that it's really, I don't want to sound too dramatic, but it's really changed my life. It really has.
Wow, that is awesome and so encouraging to hear. Do you mind maybe sharing what some symptoms you've been experiencing during this transition that you mentioned?
Yeah. So the first one, and the one that everybody always talks about, is like hot flashes. They were so bad, and I was getting them like every hour I would get one. They were driving me crazy, and I couldn't, for work, at home, it didn't matter where I was, wherever I was, they were interrupting everything. And I found myself trying to hold on to it, just hold it back a little bit. But all I wanted to do, I just wanted to fan myself. Any woman who's ever had them understands that. And that was a big one. But looking back now, I realized there were other symptoms too, things like low energy, really bad mood swings, things that really shouldn't bother me were making me feel over the top, out of control, angry and upset, or found myself crying. And I thought none of that sort of felt right. Everything just felt really off. And I was feeling pretty desperate, and I really didn't know where to start. And I wanted very badly to go to the doctor and say, give me some hormones, fix this, make it better. But I saw my nurse practitioner. She said, no, we can't really do hormones right now, because she said, if I test you and I start to medicate you, she said, your hormones will change. They'll go up and down all over the place. It'll never be exactly right. And she said, right now you just got to hang tough a little bit. But she said, here's this company. She said, I take their products. She said, it's HappyV. She said, I take their products. And she was like, you should try them. She was like, just give them a try, see what you think. And I thought, okay, what do I have to lose here? And having them recommended, the nurse practitioner, she's about the same age as me. So probably we didn't get into the details, but she probably has a lot of the same issues that I have had. So that was a great recommendation for the product just starting out. And I wasn't really expecting much. I thought I'll try it and see. And I was shocked. I was really shocked. I noticed a difference within I read online, I read reviews where people were talking about it, and they were like, oh, give it a couple of weeks. And I thought, okay, I will give it some time. But probably within a few days, I noticed a difference in the hot flashes. And that was the first thing for me, was to try to just get those under control. As time went on, then I was able to see, I really did notice where I'd had low energy, which I just didn't see at the time. My energy has gotten better. My mood has stabilized so much. It has made such a difference. And now, even though I still have periods and I still have these fluctuations, I'm not having these wild swings like I was having before. I can't tell you. I don't want to sound like I was a total non-believer. Obviously, I believed in it a bit because I wanted to try it, but you could not have convinced me what a difference it would make to start to take that menopause relief. I can't put it into words. It was amazing. It's been a huge difference.
Wow, that is awesome. So much I want to say, and I'm back there, but thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
With us, and would love to get connected with your doctor that recommended HappyV. But that is awesome. So it sounds like you had a good experience with your doctor. I was going to ask about that, because especially entering this new season of life, and maybe you didn't know what was going on. That's awesome. Yeah. That she was there for you and had solutions and give you different options or alternatives, instead of maybe going to some extreme measures or doing some other things where you try this first. So that's awesome. So I love that you had a good experience with your doctor.
Yeah, me too, because I'm not somebody who takes a lot of medicine. I've always gone to the doctor, but I've never been one to really go right to a medicine and say, okay, let's cover the symptom over. I always want to try to do things in a really holistic way. But these symptoms, I think it should be said, and I think other women will relate to this too, that these symptoms, when they come crashing in and when you really start to feel overwhelmed by all of it, it rocks your world. It can just stop you dead in your tracks. And I was so worn out from it, and I was so over it really quickly that even for somebody like me, I was ready to go to the doctor and go, fix this, right? Just take care of this, fix this.
Yeah.
And she was wise enough to say, no, that's not really a good idea. And it's not really what's best for you. And at the time, I was frustrated by that because I thought, oh, am I really just going to have to ride this out completely without anything? And so when she made this suggestion, in my head, I was thinking, I'll try this. I might have to try some other things. You know how it is. You throw whatever you've got at it. You try to figure out what works. And I was shocked, and I just was so pleased and relieved. Relieved is a good way to say it. I was just so relieved that this worked, and it really did. Like, you couldn't understand the difference from before to after. It was a huge change, and I have taken it absolutely religiously every single day. I don't miss it. It's one of those things now where if you like, I wear glasses and need glasses. I'm not going to lose my glasses because I have to have them, right? Like I have to be able to see. And HappyV is like that, taking this menopause relief. I have to have it now. So when we went on vacation, I did not leave it at home and forget it. I didn't forget to take it one day. I never forget to take it because now it's a must. Like I absolutely have to have it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I love that analogy, and that's awesome. That's good to hear. Would love to hear how you take it every day, or what's like your wellness routine?
I wish that it was some amazing routine, and you will laugh at this, but my dogs have to take medicine every night. We take our walk, we come inside, and they have to have their medicine. So every night when they get their medicine, I give them their medicine, I get them settled, and then I go straight. I keep it in the kitchen, so it's in there with everything else. And then I just go straight to the pantry. I grab HappyV, I take it, and then I'm good for the night. That's when my night is over. I have taken it. Done.
I love that.
So
it's they're happy, you're happy. It's all
yes.
That's awesome. And so I want to go back a little bit, if you don't mind talking about. We're really passionate at HappyV, just breaking any taboos or stereotype things or things that just aren't talked about in women's health.
Sure.
What are some things that maybe you wish you would have known before entering the season of life? Or was there any indicators that you even knew what was happening with your body?
So, I'm not ashamed to say I'm 49 years old. So I guess I'm pretty typical age for these things to be happening. They were creeping in earlier in my 40s, and I just didn't see it right away. My mom had gone through menopause really early, and I just wasn't putting it all together. And I think what would be really great would be for women to know that, because I've talked to other people who have started to see symptoms like in their 30s, like in their mid to late 30s. Had a couple of friends who have had radical hysterectomies, so they get thrown into menopause, right? Like it can happen so many different ways.
Yeah.
It's so different for everybody. And I wish that we have this, I don't know. I know it's not just women, but it feels like women a lot get so busy with their families and with juggling everything that we do, that when we have these small symptoms, these little nagging things that happen, we just go, oh, it'll be fine. It'll work itself out. I'll figure it out, whatever.
It's me, it's in my head. Yeah.
Yeah. And I wish that women would just slow down and take a little bit more time and go to their doctor. I just this was just like, I don't do like a pap smear every year anymore. I did when I was young. Now I'm at an age where I go every 3 years. I just happened to have an appointment. This was at the end of last year when I had this appointment. And even after I had this appointment with the nurse practitioner, I even waited then. It's not like I just ran right home and looked at HappyV and got busy setting up an order. I still waited. And what I wish is that I hadn't made myself go through it any longer than I needed to. And so I just wish I had listened to myself a little bit better and had been a little bit better about it. And I wish other women would do the same and not put themselves, I just think we put ourselves last a lot. behind our kids, behind our families, behind our work, whatever it is. And I wish more people would pay attention to those little nagging things, go in, find out what's happening, because who knows what it is, right? But go in, find out what's happening, really start to deal with it, and then allow yourself this space to have the symptoms so that you can get what you need, right? Get what you need, take care of it, address it, because it's made a huge difference, just a huge difference for me. And I didn't realize, like, I started to get hot at night. I started to wake up. I wasn't sleeping as well. All these things, I just wasn't putting it together. And so I do wish that women would talk to each other more about it. But obviously they need to go in and they need to talk to their doctors before they start making big decisions. But I think you're right. I think we do have a tendency. I felt like when it started to happen to me, I had to beg other women that were older than me. I would go, how was your menopause? Was it really bad? What happened? What did you do? What did you take? Where did you find any answers? And I wish we had spaces to just talk about that. And I know HappyV is not just about menopause relief. I know there's lots of other things that go on, but that's the same thing right across the board, whether it's UTIs or it's BV or, whatever's going on, that women would just have a space and a place to be able to just share with each other. Here's what I had. Here's how I felt. Here's where I went for help. Here's what made a difference. I wish that we would, but I think we have a tendency to try to soldier on and
be strong. We don't talk about it. Yeah. Personally, even from working at a brand that is focused on vaginal health, like, I'm learning so much that I'm like, why didn't I know this? Or why didn't anyone talk about this? I don't know, in school or just even passed down from generation to generation. You're right. It's just not talked about. And I feel like it makes people feel so isolated and alone when they go through something, when really it's normal.
Yeah. And I have a niece who is 13 and she's just approaching like puberty and all the ways that she's changing like that. And so when we get together, we sit down and we talk about it, right? I don't try to make her uncomfortable and I don't pressure her to talk about things that she doesn't want to talk about. But when she starts to ask questions, we dig in, right? Like, we dive into it, because I think that's really where it starts. Once you see your body change and you start to look at yourself in a different way, right? Young women, we don't just change internally, but we really change externally. A lot of things happen for us around that age. And that's when we start to get self-conscious. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want anybody to bring it up. We don't even just don't notice that I'm different. Don't notice that there's something going on. And it really plays into that feeling all of our lives of never really talking about it. Nobody ever really wants to admit that something's weird, doesn't feel right, or I changed, or whatever. And I don't know why it's been so easy for us to stay that way, but I do feel like things are changing, and I do feel like it is important to open that conversation up for everybody, but start it young. So, and I think that my niece, she's Generation Z. I think that they will be better about it. I think they will start from a young age. They will feel better. I'm sure that my generation was better than my mother's and my grandmother's, right? And I think we'll just get better as we go. But I think they will be. But I think it will be getting solutions and getting to the bottom of things will start with conversations. It will always start there.
Yeah, you said that beautifully. I 100% agree that it's just opening the door, the conversation, and making it not weird. And if we can pass that, I love that you're doing that with your niece, and I'm sure that's a special bond between you guys too. And she knows she can go to you. Sometimes it's hard to go to your parents or other people in your life, and it's just really important to find those people that you trust in your life to ask and all of that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
During your kind of journey, did you try to look at other solutions or other supplements or pills, or was it just, I'm going to listen to my doctor? Or what was that?
Well,
What was that research time for you?
So I didn't really look, right? Like I asked a few people like, oh, what did you take? And I had a few people tell me they had like creams that they used, or I heard black cohosh a lot. Women would talk about, or evening primrose, I think. They would just mention these things. So I asked and I heard things, but I didn't really try or dig in. And so embarrassingly, when people ask me, because I will tell anybody who wants to know, right? If we start to talk about menopause and I'm like, oh, my symptoms were awful, everything's so much better now, let me tell you about HappyV, they will immediately go, oh, what's in it? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm sorry, I don't know. And that's not like me. Normally, I'm like jump right in and really start to investigate stuff. And I guess because my nurse practitioner was the one who said, take this and do it, I just totally trusted that. And I went with it. I didn't really look. So when people ask me and they're like, what's in it? I'm like, I don't know. You'll have to go look it up. I just want you to know whatever it is, it works.
It's all working.
Oh, I know. That's the only thing that matters to me, is that it makes a difference.
So I love that you have that confidence in your doctor and that you're sharing with other people. And it is, yeah, it's good that people are like, oh, what's in it and stuff. But yeah, it is a mixture of all that stuff that you need. And you're like, I don't know, it's just working for me. So
I mean, it is. I mean, if somebody said, look, there's elephant toenails and also like daisy blossoms in it, I'd be like, great. It just doesn't even matter to me. I just need to keep taking it, whatever it is.
No, I love that. Just a few more questions I have for you.
Sure.
I know you talked about it before, but is there any other things that you want to share about how taking the menopause relief has really changed your confidence and just your self-esteem overall?
I can say that it's weird. I wasn't expecting it, but menopause did. I don't know if it was like confidence or self-esteem. That's the way I would describe it. But it definitely started to it felt like something had been taken away, like all of these symptoms, right? I wasn't sleeping. I didn't have good energy. I had these horrible hot flashes, these mood swings. And it felt, is it always going to be like this now? You know how when you get sick and you have the flu or something for 2 weeks and you think, oh God, I'm never going to feel good again. Nothing's ever going to be right. It's always going to feel like this. And then eventually you come out of it. But this was such a fog. It was like such a deep, thick, heavy fog. And I felt that's it, right? The best part of my life is over. Nothing is going to be any better than this now. It really was. I'm not somebody who gets depressed, and I certainly wouldn't call it depression. I think depression is probably much more intense than that. But it was a depressed sort of feeling, right? Like it took a lot of the joy out of things for me. And my husband was even like, he was just like, are you okay? What can I do? And I was just like, it was like puberty all over again. I was like, I don't know. Why are you crying? I don't know. I don't know why I'm sad. I don't know why I'm so angry, but everything felt like that was just it, right? That was the way it was going to be. So when I took the medicine or really not, I guess it's not medicine, really like the supplement, right? I started taking HappyV and I started to feel the relief, right? Like it just started and I was like, oh, you know what? I didn't have a hot flash all day today. And I just noticed it, right? Or, wow, I didn't feel like laying down on the couch this afternoon and taking a nap. Like I was fine, right? Or everything's not affecting me and I'm not upset all the time. It felt like that fog was lifting and that life was okay again, right? Like I don't want it to sound too dramatic, but at the same time, I don't think it could be understated. Or I don't think it could be overstated rather, that it was such a hard, heavy, it just felt heavy. And I don't know how many people really love Harry Potter, but when you think about like when they were wearing those Horcruxes, you know what I'm talking about, when they had the Horcruxes on, and it just made everything bad and really heavy and unfun and just sad and depressing. It was like that. And it was like taking the Horcrux off. It was like taking that off and being able to like just breathe again and see things and be positive. So I don't know that I would call it like confidence or self-esteem as much as I would just say it was just a general outlook that changed along with all the other symptoms. But it was like, it just allowed me to look around and find the joy and the gratitude in the things that I lost sight of because I felt just heavy under the weight of what felt like it was never going to change and never going to get any better.
Yeah. Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that. And you just said after a few days of taking the menopause relief, that all turned around.
Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It did.
Is there any other wellness things that you're doing right now that you feel have really helped you as well?
Not really. I have put on a few pounds, which I was not really happy to discover. And they came on pretty quickly and surprised me. And so I have put myself on a much more sort of mindful eating routine. Not so much a diet, but definitely I've been paying more attention to not just how much I'm eating, but actually what I'm eating, trying to eat more whole foods and trying to get away from just things. I still eat processed stuff, I'm not going to lie, but trying to incorporate that less in my regular diet, trying to just be really aware of adding in more whole foods and trying to also get more protein.
Yeah.
Because I know that along with menopause will come the loss of muscle and bone mass and that kind of stuff. And so realizing how important it will be to maintain that. I walk my dogs every day. I wish that I exercised more. And that's something I want to do, is I want to incorporate more exercise as I sail into this, whatever's coming up. I want to be doing that. But other than that, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome that you're getting movement, and love that you're just like mindful and what's right for you and what's on your path.
I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying.
Awesome. 2 more questions.
Sure.
If HappyV had any other products, what would you like to see HappyV maybe come out with?
I don't know. I feel like the menopause relief is a miracle, and I don't know that I could ask for much more, but very selfishly, I would love it if there was something that addressed weight, like weight loss. And truly, I know you could say you eat less, you exercise more, you can lose weight. That is true. But at this part of my life, I've noticed that my eating stayed the same, my movement stayed the same, and yet my weight was creeping up. And I'm like, I don't like that. And I'm not somebody that wants to go get a shot or take something really dramatic, some kind of dramatic action to, lose weight. And I don't really have that much I want to lose. It would be nice to lose 10 or 15 pounds. I would love if there was something that would address maybe metabolism, something that was really specifically targeted for that. But that might be asking a lot. That might be asking a lot more than you'd be able to do.
So. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what we can do. No, we just want to hear from our community and, what HappyV could come out with and help along our health journeys and stuff too. So it's great to hear. One last question. Sure. If someone else is going through what you were going through before you saw the doctor, all of that, or just feeling stuck or hopeless and isolated, doesn't have anyone to talk to, what would be some encouraging words that you would love to share?
I would want, if anybody was feeling like I was and they were feeling like there's really no light at the end of the tunnel, I would first and foremost want to say to somebody, because I remember how that felt. I remember so just intensely how that felt. And I would want first to say to somebody, don't give up, right? Don't just give over to that. And that is not the way it has to be from here on out. There is not just a light at the end of the tunnel, but it doesn't even have to be that long of a tunnel. Like you don't have to be there for so long. And I would encourage anybody first and foremost, of course, to just talk to a medical professional, make sure they know what's going on. But also, like I said before, I have friends and colleagues and people, we talk about this stuff, we get together, and eventually somebody's fanning themselves or something. And I'm always telling everybody, this is what I'm doing. Go check it out. And I don't know, everything doesn't necessarily work the same for everybody. I understand that everybody's body is really different, but I am already encouraging people that I know that are struggling or that are starting to show some signs and symptoms. I'm telling them ahead of time, this is what I'm doing. If it starts to get really bad, obviously you've got to talk to a medical professional, but outside of that, here's what's happening. Here's what's working for me. And I would want somebody to know there are options and they don't just have to give over to it, because I think we all know people who have just given up. They just feel maybe no one's listening. And I just want anybody feeling like that to know There are people who will listen. There is somebody who can help address it, but on your own, do a little bit of research, look into it, do what feels good for you. But I'm always going to be firmly in the HappyV corner because it's been amazing for me, and I'll always encourage people.